Hello guys, it's me Philip from Smart Programmer again. And then today I'm going to be talking about data types in Java. So in our last lesson, we talked about variables and how to declare a variable. So in this lesson, we are going to be talking about or basically exploring other data types and knowing in depth on how they are used and what they are about. So that said, in Java, we have two categories of data types. Basically, we have the primitive data types and the reference or object data type. So, the primitive data types, like are the ones we talked about in our last video, variables. Like we know about the int already. We talked about the car data type. So those are basically the two primitive data types we talked about. Other data types here are byte, short, long, float, double, and boolean data type. So let's talk about them individually. So the byte data type can store numbers from minus 128 to 127. It has the size of 1 byte and use the byte data type when you are sure that the number you want to store is between the range of minus 108, 128 and 127 to save memory. So same with the short data type can store whole numbers from minus 32,768 to 32,767. The size of the short data type in memory is 2 bytes. So the in data type that we did in our last session was can store numbers from this range to this range, and it's basically the most used data type for storing integers. And lastly, it has a size of 4 bytes. So then we have the long data type. The long data type is 8 byte and it stores whole numbers from this range to this range, so it's pretty large. The long data type is used to store the value when it exceeds the capacity of the int data type. So when storing a value in the long data type, we add an L or a small L to the end of the value. So instead of like you created a variable long and then you want to store a number. So after writing the number, let's say 55, you write 55 and then add an L to the 55 to say this is a long data type. So that said, we have the float data type. So it's used to store decimal numbers up to 7 digits, decimal digits, and it has the size of 4 bytes. And then secondly, we have the double data type. It's used to store decimal numbers up to 15 decimal digits. It has the size of 8 bytes. So that said, the float data type and the double data type, they are just used in storing decimal numbers, whereas the bytes, in short, and then long that we have been talking about are used to store whole numbers. So if you basically store decimal numbers in there, it's not going to give you back your decimal numbers. So that said, we are going to talk about the car data type and then the boolean data type. So the car data type, as we said in our last topic, is last video, is used to store single characters, so just one. So if you make it two characters, it's going to produce an error, so it's going to give you a compilation error. So to create it, you surround it with single quotes and it has a size of 2 bytes. So if you surround it with double quotes, it's also going to produce an error because that's not how it's giving a value. So the boolean data type, which is the last here in the primitive data type, is it takes a space of 2 bits in memory and then it stores just two values, true or false. So true or false is the value, yes or no. So now we're going to move over to the reference or object data type. So the reference or object data type are data types that are defined by the programming language, meaning that they are user defined. So example are arrays, classes, and then interface. So we are not going to be talking about this now. We are going to be talking about it a little bit later as we progress. So that said, so let's and then lastly, the string data type that is not included here. Sorry. So on the string data type is also a reference data type. I didn't include it here. And then it falls under the category of classes. So it basically falls under the category of classes. That's why you are not seeing it here. So that said, let's just practicalize some of the things we have learned now so far. So let's create a program to store that prompts the user for a name, and then we store it inside a variable, and then we print it out to the screen, probably saying hi John if the user's name is John. So let's get started right here now. So I'm going to remove that, and then let's be practical. So which data type do you think will solve this problem to collect the name of a person? So if you are thinking of string, then you are right. So we're going to create a string data type that is going to store the name of the person or the user. So I'm going to say string, then name, and then an equal to, and then just give it just a name here. Let's say John, and then print it out to the screen with hello. So we're going to say hello John. No, not John. So we are going to add it to a name so that it can change. So to collect an input from a user, we have to say scanner. We are going to use the scanner class. Then say xc and equal to new scanner. So basically we are going to impute system dot in here, and then end it with a semicolon. Then we are going to import the scanner class here. So it says, so let's import the scanner class from the Java util package. So it's imported. So we are going to also ask the user for the name. So let's say system dot out dot print ln. So we are going to say what's your name, what is your name, and then replace this John here with sc dot next line. So it's going to actually grab the line of input. So that said, let's run this code to see how it works. So it says, what's your name? I'm going to say Philip, and then it says hello Philip. So that's it. So if you okay guys, so that's it for this video. So basically you probably find the scanner class, or how we got to impute get how we manage to get the user input using these lines of code. So in the next video, I'm basically going to be explaining how this whole thing works. And then so all you just have to know is that we created okay, let's just leave it all for the next video. And then again, I'll see you in the next video. And also make sure you like this video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. And then I love you.